Okay. Sarah Michelle leaned back in her chair, the weight of 30 years settling comfortably. The stories, the confessions, the quiet hopes, they echoed in the quiet clinic room. This message needed to be heard, clearly, compassionately, without flinching from the truth, but also without judgment. Men over 60 deserved better than silence or shame. She began to speak, her voice warm yet firm, aiming for the heart and the mind. Gentlemen, if you're an older man who still finds pleasure in your own touch, I need you to really hear what I'm about to say. This isn't about scolding or telling you to stop. It's about something vital, something almost no one talks about openly, especially not to men in their 60s, 70s, and beyond. In fact, it might be the single, quietest thing chipping away at your firmness, dulling your sensitivity, and quietly eroding your confidence in the bedroom. And here's the crucial part. It's not that you're doing it. It's how you're doing it. My name is Dr. Sarah Michelle. For the past 30 years, my life's work has been helping men just like you, men over 60, rediscover their energy, rebuild intimacy, and reclaim their strength. Day in and day out in my clinic, I see the same hidden patterns, the same unspoken struggles. This issue, the one tied to how you approach self-pleasure, is perhaps the most common yet least understood challenge I encounter. Most men get stuck in a simple trap. They believe masturbation is either purely good or inherently bad, black or white. But the truth? It's a complex landscape of gray, and understanding that complexity is far more important than you might realize. Because while self-pleasure, when approached mindfully, can absolutely support your well-being, done the wrong way, it can slowly, insidiously undermine your performance, mess with your hormones, compromise your circulation, and even weaken your connection to others. Think of it like a tool. A hammer can build a house or break a window. It's all in how you use it. In this conversation, I want to walk you through the 10 hidden risks of masturbation after 60, risks most doctors simply never take the time to explain. More importantly, I'll show you how you can transform this private habit from a potential drain into a powerful tool that actually protects your prostate, improves blood flow, strengthens your testosterone levels, and ultimately enhances real intimacy. And before we finish, I'll share a simple, natural technique I give my own patients, a mere 7 seconds a day, to help safely and powerfully restore firmness and drive. No prescriptions needed. This isn't magic, it's physiology, and it works. Let's begin, because your health, your vitality, and your confidence deserve the full, unvarnished truth. But first, a quick request. If you're finding this conversation valuable, if it speaks to something you've wondered about or experienced, please do me a favor. Tap that subscribe button below and turn on the notification bell.
Why?
Because I create content specifically for men navigating their 60s, 70s, and beyond, tackling the real, often unspoken health challenges you face. Subscribing ensures you never miss these important insights. And honestly, it helps me know this is reaching the men who need it most. If this resonates with you right now, type 1 in the comments below. If it doesn't quite hit home today, type 0. I genuinely value your feedback. It guides me in creating what truly serves you. Now, let's dive into the part most men never see coming, because the first danger isn't primarily physical. It starts much deeper, in a place we often neglect to connect with our sexual habits. I've seen it silently erode the emotional well-being of countless men, yet it flies completely under the radar. It's not directly about your body. It's about your connection to the world around you. Risk number 1. Social isolation. I remember him clearly. A retired high school teacher, 67 years old, sitting across from me. He had that look, not just tired, but carrying a quiet heaviness that spoke of being unseen. After the usual pleasantries, he leaned in, his voice dropping almost to a whisper. "Doc, I haven't touched another person in months. Not a hug, not a handshake that meant anything. But I still take care of things myself, you know? Is that wrong?" That question lingered long after he left. Not because of the act itself. There's nothing inherently wrong with self-pleasure. In fact, studies, like those referenced in the Journal of Sexual Medicine, Acknowledge that masturbation is a common and normal sexual behavior across the lifespan, often associated with positive aspects of sexual health. The problem arises when it subtly morphs from being part of your sexual life into the entirety of your intimate connection. For many men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s, life can settle into quiet routines. A solo release becomes a reliable comfort, a familiar habit, a fleeting moment of feeling something. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, without even realizing it, they stop seeking out connection with others, emotionally, romantically, even socially. Masturbation fills the gap, until the gap becomes a vast, lonely canyon.
It's not just about sex.
It's about the subtle, painful withdrawal from life itself. From the warmth of a hug, the shared laughter with a friend, the simple act of eye contact that says, "I see you." From feeling like a vital man, not just a patient or a pensioner. I've witnessed men lose the desire to date, to initiate touch, to engage socially, simply because solo pleasure became the easier, less vulnerable path than facing the complexities and potential rejections of real human connection. Here's the profound truth few articulate clearly. Physical touch, genuine connection, it's more than just pleasure, it's fundamental medicine for the human spirit. Research, such as work published in Psychological Science, consistently shows that social connection and physical touch are vital for emotional regulation, reducing stress hormones like cortisol and even boosting immune function. When you stop reaching out, your world inevitably shrinks. Not because you're getting older, but because you've perhaps unconsciously stopped believing anyone wants what you still genuinely have to offer: your experience, your presence, your capacity for companionship. So, if you've noticed yourself turning inward more and more, if your private life has become your primary source of feeling connected, please hear this. That's not a personal failure. It's a signal, a reminder, wired deep within our human biology, that we are meant for more. And that more is absolutely still possible, no matter how long it feels like it's been. Reclaiming connection doesn't necessarily mean diving headfirst back into dating apps or chasing romance. Often, it starts with the smallest steps. Picking up the phone to call an old friend you miss, joining a local walking group or book club, simply striking up a genuine conversation with someone new at the coffee shop. Intimacy isn't solely physical. It's found in being truly seen, genuinely heard, and feeling human again. Because the moment we start believing we no longer deserve closeness is the moment we risk settling for isolation, sometimes disguised as stoic independence. While emotional distance is one hidden danger, the next one hits much closer to the body itself. It's something most men don't even realize they're damaging until the discomfort becomes persistent. Risk number 2. Skin microlesions. Not long ago, a patient in his early 70s came in, visibly uncomfortable. "Doc," he said, shifting in his seat, "I feel a bit silly mentioning this, but down there, after I've been getting this irritation. Redness, a bit of a sting. It's happening more often lately." His voice held genuine worry mixed with a layer of shame, as if he thought this was something he should have outgrown, or was somehow failing at now. Here's the physiological reality doctors understand but often forget to explain. As we age, the skin everywhere on our body changes. The skin of the penis is no exception. It becomes thinner, more delicate, and significantly slower to heal. The body naturally produces less collagen and elastin, those essential proteins that keep skin supple and resilient in our youth. Combine this natural thinning with decades of friction, even friction you might not have noticed before, and it's no surprise that many older men develop what we call microlesions. These are tiny, often microscopic, tears or abrasions in the skin that can occur during masturbation, especially if it's done too vigorously, too dry, or without adequate lubrication. Most men don't notice them initially. Maybe a little redness afterward, a mild stinging sensation when urinating, or a slight sensitivity that fades in a few hours. But over time, these repeated microinjuries cause cumulative damage. They lead to chronic low-grade inflammation and irritation. In the worst cases, they can even contribute to minor scarring, fibrosis, which further reduces skin elasticity and sensitivity. Critically, these microtears also create tiny entry points, making the area more susceptible to infections, bacterial or fungal, that thrive in warm, moist environments. The cruel irony is that many men misinterpret this discomfort as a sign of something more serious, failing hormones, nerve damage, or age itself, when often it's simply that their technique hasn't evolved with their changing physiology. So, what's the solution? First and foremost, be gentle. Your body at 60 plus is not the same as it was at 25. This isn't a weakness, it's a fact of life, and it calls for treating yourself with more care and respect. Second, always use a high-quality, water-based lubricant. Forget petroleum jelly, it can actually promote infections, or spit, it dries too quickly. A proper lubricant significantly reduces friction, prevents tearing, and studies have shown it can actually help preserve penile sensitivity over time by minimizing trauma. Third, slow down. This isn't a race. Masturbation at this stage is less about frantic release and more about mindful connection, reconnecting with your own body's sensations in a way that honors it. I often tell my patients, this phase of life isn't about less pleasure. It's about better pleasure, wiser pleasure, the kind that respects the vessel carrying you through these years. There's absolutely no shame in adjusting how you touch yourself. In fact, there's profound strength and self-awareness in it. You're learning to work with your body, not against it. Now, if friction and irritation are warning signs you can actually feel, what about the dangers you can't? What if I told you there's a hidden risk that affects not your skin, but your very nervous system, quietly training your body to stop responding to real-life intimacy? Risk number 3, desensitization, neurological conditioning. He was 64, sharp, seemingly healthy, still working part-time. Yet, he sat in my office, looking defeated. "Doc," he confessed, "I just can't feel anything like I used to. I mean, I can get there on my own, no problem. But with my wife, it's different. Distant. I just don't feel the same spark, the same connection. What's wrong with me?" This scenario plays out in my clinic far more often than most people realize. And it's frequently not primarily about low testosterone or poor circulation. Often, it's about what I term the quiet conditioning of the nervous system. Here's how it works neurologically. When a man masturbates repeatedly in the exact same way, the same firm grip, the same rapid rhythm, the same intense pressure, often accompanied by the same fantasy or visual stimulus, the brain and body begin to form a very specific neural pathway associated with pleasure and orgasm. It's like repeatedly pouring water down the same spot on a hillside. Eventually, it carves a deep groove, and the water, in this case, the neural signal for arousal, automatically follows that path, forgetting how to flow anywhere else. This is desensitization through neurological conditioning. For men over 60, it often manifests as difficulty feeling aroused with a partner, needing much more intense physical stimulation, like that firm, fast solo grip, to achieve the same level of arousal or orgasm with a partner. Struggling to climax unless you can mentally or physically recreate that very specific solo environment. What once felt natural and connected with a partner now feels like work, leading to frustration, confusion, and yes, sometimes shame. But crucially, this is not a moral failing. It's not necessarily even a major medical issue. It's primarily a learned neural pattern. The incredibly good news? It can be unlearned and retrained. The key is introducing variety. Change your touch. Vary your speed dramatically. Slow way down. Experiment with lighter touches, different grips, softer, broader. Different types of stimulation, focusing on the shaft, the head, the base, the perineum. Explore different positions, lying down, standing, sitting, to change the sensory input. Engage your imagination. Reduce reliance on external visual stimulation, pornography. Practice using your mind's eye, focusing on sensations, memories, or fantasies that involve connection and feeling rather than just intense visuals. Slow down and explore. Make the journey the goal, not just the destination. Spend time simply exploring sensations without any pressure to climax. Relearn the subtle nuances of pleasure your body can offer. When you create variety in your stimulation, you start to reawaken sensitivity, not just physically in the nerve endings, but crucially in the brain. You broaden those neural pathways again. I tell every patient struggling with this. Your nervous system isn't broken. It's just been overtrained in one narrow direction. What it needs isn't shame. It needs patience, permission, and time to reset. I've witnessed men rediscover profound connection with their partners after years of feeling numb, simply by practicing differently. No pills, no surgery, just mindful re-engagement. This risk is subtle, which makes it particularly dangerous because you might not notice it happening until the distance between you and your partner feels like an uncrossable gulf. But the bridge can be rebuilt, starting with how you train your own nervous system. Now, if desensitization changes how your body feels pleasure, the next risk is even more critical because it can mask something potentially life-threatening. It's the one most men overlook, often until it's too late. Risk number 4. Masking erectile dysfunction, the silent warning. I recall a man in his late 60s who finally came to see me after nearly a year of hesitation. He looked fit, worked out regularly, had been happily married for decades. But something was off. After some gentle probing, he admitted, "I can get hard when I'm alone." Document. "No issue, but with my wife, it just doesn't happen reliably anymore. Honestly, I've just stopped trying. It's easier this way." That moment was heavy. Not because he was broken, but because he didn't realize his body was sending him a potentially vital warning signal. What he dismissed as a minor intimacy hiccup could very well be an early indicator of something far more systemic. Underlying vascular disease, blood sugar imbalances like prediabetes or diabetes, or significant hormonal decline. Here's the critical physiological insight most doctors don't emphasize enough. The penis is essentially a barometer for your overall cardiovascular health. Erectile function relies heavily on healthy blood flow, flexible arteries, robust nerve signaling, and balanced hormones. When blood vessels start to narrow or harden, atherosclerosis. When blood sugar levels creep up, damaging nerves and vessels, neuropathy/angiopathy. When testosterone levels dip significantly, or when nerve sensitivity decreases, the ability to achieve and maintain an erection sufficient for partnered sex is often the first noticeable function to be impaired. This is why major health organizations like the American Urological Association often stress that ED can be an early warning sign of heart disease. The danger with habitual masturbation in this context is that it can often bypass these deeper issues. Achieving an erection solo is usually less demanding, mentally/emotionally, less performance anxiety, less pressure. Physically, you control the stimulation precisely, often using techniques optimized for solo efficiency, like the firm grip we discussed, which might overcome suboptimal blood flow that would falter during partnered sex. So, while you might still be functioning solo, you could be completely overlooking early-stage erectile dysfunction that's actually signaling a serious underlying health problem like heart disease, diabetes, or significant hormonal imbalance, all of which are highly treatable, often reversible with lifestyle changes or medication if caught early. The truth is stark. As a physician, I'd much rather see a patient come to me with concerns about inconsistent erections early than wait until he experiences a heart attack or receives a diabetes diagnosis years down the line. When vascular or metabolic issues are addressed promptly, we can frequently improve circulation, restore hormonal balance, and reverse many of the root causes of ED, often without needing aggressive medications like PDE5 inhibitors, Viagra, Cialis, right away, or certainly without surgery. Here's my urgent message for every man over 60. There is absolutely no shame in needing help or experiencing changes. What's genuinely dangerous is waiting. What's truly risky is silence. If you notice a pattern, erections that are less firm, don't last as long, or reliably fail during partnered sex but work fine solo, do not ignore it. That's your body waving a red flag. Bring it up with a trusted physician who sees you as a whole person, not just a symptom. You deserve a full, vibrant life, not just a private workaround. Masking the issue with solo habits only delays accessing the healing and vitality you are absolutely capable of achieving. Now, if this risk hides within your blood flow and hormones, the next one stems from something surprisingly simple: how you're literally sitting. Believe it or not, your posture during private moments could be quietly damaging a key nerve, impacting sensation and long-term pelvic health. Risk number 5. Nerve compression from poor posture. A few years back, a gentleman in his early 70s came in concerned about a persistent, dull numbness in his groin area. It had crept up slowly over 6 months. He worried it was poor circulation or just old age. After a thorough evaluation, it became clear it wasn't vascular. It was neurological. The culprit? Deceptively simple: his habitual posture, especially during masturbation. What most men don't realize is that posture, particularly during prolonged sitting for any activity, plays a crucial role in nerve health. Many older men spend significant time seated, in recliners, office chairs, or often hunched over in quiet privacy. While this seems harmless, the sustained pressure from sitting on hard surfaces, sitting with a wallet in the back pocket, or slouching forward can gradually compress the pudendal nerve. This nerve is absolutely vital. It's the main nerve responsible for sensation in your penis, scrotum, perineum, the area between scrotum and anus, and it also carries motor signals to the pelvic floor muscles involved in erection, ejaculation, and bladder/bowel control. Chronic compression of this nerve, sometimes called pudendal neuralgia or Alcock canal syndrome, can lead to numbness or reduced sensitivity in the genital area, tingling or pins and needles sensations, aching or burning pain in the perineum, penis, or rectum, sometimes worse when sitting, pain during or after ejaculation, difficulty achieving or maintaining an erection due to impaired nerve signaling. It often starts subtly. Maybe you feel slightly less responsive, or there's an odd, intermittent buzzing sensation. But if the postural habit continues, the compression can become chronic and much harder to reverse. It's frustrating because men often, understandably, assume the problem is hormonal or psychological when it's frequently a straightforward mechanical issue. The solution? Primarily awareness and adjustment. Avoid problematic positions. Do not masturbate while sitting hunched forward on a hard chair or stool. This puts direct pressure on the perineum and the pudendal nerve as it passes through the Alcock's canal. Choose supportive positions. Opt for reclining or lying down on your back or side. These positions take pressure off the perineum and pelvis. If sitting is preferred, use a well-cushioned surface and ensure good lumbar support. Consider a specially designed cushion with a perineal cutout for prolonged sitting in general. Pillow power. When lying down, placing a pillow under your knees can help maintain a neutral spine and reduce tension in the lower back and pelvic floor, further relieving potential nerve pressure. Move regularly. Take breaks from sitting throughout the day. Stand up, walk around, gently stretch. Your nerves, like your muscles, need movement and changes in position to stay healthy. Simple pelvic tilts or gentle yoga poses like child's pose can help. I often remind my patients, comfort isn't laziness. It's a form of essential self-protection, especially as we age. How you position your body during private moments reflects how you value your long-term health and function. Giving your nerves the space they need isn't just about preventing pain. It's about preserving your capacity for feeling, for pleasure, for connection. When numbness replaces sensation where you once felt intensely alive, it impacts far more than just physical function. It touches your core sense of vitality and masculine confidence. While posture can quietly steal sensation, the next risk dives into something even more personal: why you're doing it. Many men turn to self-pleasure in moments of stress, loneliness, or boredom. It seems harmless, even helpful initially, but over time, it can become a hidden emotional trap. Risk number 6. Using it as your only emotional outlet. He was in his late 60s, articulate, thoughtful. During a routine checkup, he said almost casually, "Some days, Doc, I just get so tired of feeling things. The quiet, the news, the memories. Masturbation helps me just shut it all off for a while." He wasn't talking about desire. He was naming loneliness, stress, boredom, that profound ache of isolation when days blur and meaningful contact fades. I understood completely. For many men over 60, particularly those retired, widowed, divorced, or living alone, masturbation evolves beyond physical release. It becomes a primary coping mechanism, a reliable escape hatch from uncomfortable or overwhelming emotions. You're not necessarily seeking intense pleasure, you're seeking relief. A way to momentarily quiet the internal noise, the sadness, the anxiety, the sheer weight of unstructured time. The physiological truth is that orgasm does provide temporary stress reduction. It triggers a complex neurochemical cascade, a surge of dopamine, reward/pleasure, followed by oxytocin, bonding/calm, and prolactin, relaxation/satiety. This cocktail genuinely lowers cortisol, the primary stress hormone, and creates a transient sense of calm, safety, and even emotional warmth, a feeling of being okay, if only briefly. However, the danger arises when self-pleasure becomes the only readily available emotional outlet. Instead of processing deeper feelings, grief, frustration, fear, existential restlessness, you habitually numb them with the intense, predictable sensation of orgasm. What begins as an occasional coping strategy can quietly solidify into a dependency. You might not even recognize it until you start skipping social gatherings you used to enjoy, avoiding phone calls from family, or losing interest in hobbies that once brought joy, all because it feels easier, safer, and more immediately gratifying to stay home and exert that brief sense of control through solo release. I want to be unequivocally clear. There is zero shame in seeking comfort or needing strategies to manage emotional stress. Every man, at any age, needs healthy outlets. The problem emerges when masturbation becomes the sole lever you pull to regulate your emotional state. It's like only ever eating one type of food. You might survive, but you'll lack essential nutrients for true vitality. Expanding your emotional toolkit is crucial. Talk. Reach out to a trusted friend, family member, counselor, or men's support group. Verbalizing feelings diminishes their power and fosters connection. Move. Physical activity is potent medicine for mood. Walk, garden, swim, lift light weights, get your body engaged. Get outside. Nature has a profound calming effect. Sunlight boosts vitamin D and mood-regulating serotonin. Create new routines. Structure combats boredom and aimlessness. Find activities that provide a sense of purpose or accomplishment, however small, volunteering, learning a skill, caring for a pet. Mindfulness/meditation. Learn techniques to observe emotions without being overwhelmed by them, creating space between feeling and reaction. As deeply satisfying as orgasm can be, it's a temporary state, not a substitute for sustained purpose, meaningful conversation, or authentic connection to something larger than yourself. You deserve a life that offers more than fleeting relief from discomfort. You deserve emotional resilience and a range of experiences that foster genuine well-being. There's a deep, enduring masculinity in cultivating that kind of awareness and range, moving beyond reliance on a single, solitary outlet. While emotional escape can drain your spirit, the next risk is one that can literally weigh down your body. It's something most men never expect until they feel a persistent heaviness in their pelvis. Risk number 7. Pelvic congestion and muscle fatigue. A gentleman in his late 60s described a peculiar discomfort. "Doc, it's hard to explain. Not sharp pain, just this dull, heavy ache down there. Like a constant pressure, low in my pelvis. Feels like something's congested." He'd checked for infection, and his prostate was healthy. When I asked about his frequency of ejaculation, his answer was revealing. Retired and often home alone, he'd fallen into a pattern of masturbating twice, sometimes even 3 times a day. "It helps me sleep," he said. "Gives me something to do. But lately I just feel off." What he was experiencing aligns with what we term pelvic congestion and pelvic floor muscle fatigue. This isn't about morality. It's about simple physiology and the need for recovery time, especially as we age. When ejaculation occurs very frequently, multiple times a day over an extended period, It places significant demand on the pelvic region, blood flow. Each arousal and ejaculation cycle involves significant blood engorgement, vasocongestion. In the pelvic organs, penis, prostate, seminal vesicles, and muscles. With insufficient recovery time between sessions, this congestion doesn't fully resolve, leading to a persistent feeling of heaviness or fullness. Muscle fatigue. Ejaculation involves powerful, rhythmic contractions of the pelvic floor muscles, bulbospongiosis, ischiocavernosus. Like any muscle group, overuse without adequate rest leads to fatigue, soreness, and even spasms. This can manifest as a deep ache behind the pubic bone, soreness in the perineum or testicles, or even low back pain. Inflammation. The repeated physical activity and congestion can also lead to low-grade inflammation in the pelvic tissues, contributing to the discomfort. The aging body simply doesn't recover as quickly as it once did. The systems regulating blood flow, hormone replenishment, and muscular repair are more delicate. This isn't fragility. It's a call for greater awareness and rhythm. Most men over 60 find their bodies function best, and pleasure remains more satisfying, with at least a couple of days between ejaculations. This allows time for seminal fluid replenishment, pelvic congestion to fully subside, pelvic floor muscles to recover, nerve sensitivity to reset, avoiding the desensitization we discussed earlier, dopamine receptors to resensitize, making the next experience potentially more pleasurable. Think of it like exercise. Rest days are essential for muscle growth and preventing injury. The same principle applies here. More frequent activity doesn't equate to more or better pleasure. In fact, it often leads to diminished sensation and physical discomfort. Moderation allows your body the space to restore its resources, leading to more fulfilling experiences when you do engage. Listen to that dull ache or heaviness. It's your body's signal asking for balance and time to recover. Ignoring it can turn temporary fatigue into chronic discomfort. Now, while pelvic congestion is a signal your body sends from below, the next risk we explore starts on a cellular level. It matters most if fatherhood is still a possibility you cherish, because yes, men in their 60s and 70s can father children, but this habit could be working against you. Risk number 9. Potential impact on semen quality for those seeking fatherhood. He was 61, newly married to a younger woman, his eyes bright with hope mixed with anxiety. "My wife and I were trying for a baby," document. "We're hopeful, it's early days, but 6 months now, nothing. Everything seems okay." His labs were generally good, decent testosterone, no major red flags. But when I asked about his ejaculation frequency, he admitted, "Pretty often. Daily, sometimes more. Helps me relax." I figured, practice makes perfect? Keep the pipes clear? This is a common, understandable belief. However, when it comes to optimizing fertility, especially for older men where natural sperm production and quality are already gradually declining, the reality is more nuanced. While frequent ejaculation isn't harmful to general health and doesn't clog pipes, it can temporarily reduce semen quality, specifically sperm concentration, the number of sperm per milliliter of semen. Here's the biology. Sperm production is continuous, but it takes time for sperm to mature and accumulate in the epididymis, the storage duct. Ejaculating very frequently, daily or multiple times daily, doesn't give the epididymis sufficient time to build up a full concentration of mature sperm. While total sperm count per ejaculate might not drop drastically immediately, the concentration does. For older men, whose baseline sperm production and quality might already be lower due to age, this reduction in concentration can more significantly impact the chances of conception per cycle. Research, including studies published in Fertility and Sterility, consistently shows that for men trying to conceive, a period of abstinence, typically 2 to 5 days, before the woman's fertile window yields the optimal semen parameters, the highest sperm concentration, and best motility movement. It's about strategic timing and allowing the body to deliver its best possible sample. This isn't to say daily ejaculation ruins fertility. Not at all. Sperm are still present. But if you and your partner are actively trying to conceive, Maximizing your chances involves understanding how timing and frequency affect semen quality at this stage of your life. Moderation and strategic timing can genuinely improve the odds. It's about working with your body's current rhythm, not against it. If creating life is a hope you hold, or even a possibility you wish to keep open, then awareness of this physiological detail is empowering. Adjusting your solo routine during the conception window is a simple, non-invasive step you can take. Remember, your ability to create life isn't just biological, it's a testament to the enduring vitality within you. Finally, we reach a risk that affects nearly every man engaging frequently with modern self-pleasure habits. It doesn't manifest physically first. It starts in your brain and can fundamentally alter how you see women, yourself, and the meaning of intimacy. Risk number 10. Disconnection from reality, the pornography factor. A patient in his early 70s shared with remarkable candor. "It's not that I don't want intimacy with a partner, document. It's that real life just doesn't seem to do it for me anymore. I don't know when it happened. I just stopped feeling genuinely excited by an actual person, by touch, by conversation. The spark, it's gone." His words stayed with me. This wasn't classic ED or low T. It was something more pervasive, a profound disconnection from reality, fueled by habitual, heavy consumption of pornography during masturbation. The human brain, particularly the male brain, is exquisitely responsive to novelty and intense stimulation. Modern internet pornography offers an unprecedented, endless stream of novelty, intensity, and often completely unrealistic scenarios. When exposed to this repeatedly, the brain's reward system adapts. It starts craving that extreme level of novelty, the dramatic visuals, the impossible scenarios. Gradually, it becomes less responsive to the natural, slower, more nuanced pace of real human connection. The scent of skin, the sound of a voice, the feel of authentic touch, the vulnerability and emotional depth of partnered sex. For men over 60, this risk is potent. As social circles may shrink, loneliness can increase, and the ease of accessing a predictable, intense, private world of digital stimulation becomes incredibly seductive. Screens don't reject, they don't require emotional vulnerability. They deliver a controlled dose of arousal on demand. But the hidden cost is high: diminished sensitivity to real-life stimuli, reduced presence in actual relationships, and a dwindling ability to be deeply moved by authentic intimacy. What begins as a visual aid can evolve into a dependence that makes genuine connection feel bland, boring, or like too much effort. You might find yourself mentally comparing real partners, current or potential, to impossible digital ideals, feeling bored or impatient during real sexual encounters that don't match the intensity or novelty of porn, struggling to become aroused without the specific triggers provided by pornography, withdrawing further from seeking real connection because the digital alternative feels easier and more reliably stimulating. The profound good news is that this disconnection is reversible. The brain possesses neuroplasticity, the ability to rewire itself based on experience. You can retrain your sensitivity, take breaks, consciously reduce or eliminate pornography use for periods. Start with a week, then extend. Re-engage imagination and memory. Rely on your mind during self-pleasure. Focus on sensations. Recall past intimate experiences with real partners. Fantasize about connection and feeling rather than just visual intensity. Focus on sensation. Practice mindful masturbation, focusing only on the physical feelings in your body, without any visual or mental fantasy for a while. Relearn the subtle language of your own touch. Seek real connection. Prioritize non-sexual touch, conversation, and emotional intimacy. Relearn the slower, deeper arousal that builds through genuine human interaction. Patience. Allow time. Your brain didn't adapt overnight. It won't rewire instantly. Be kind to yourself during the process. You are not too old to reconnect with the profound depth and richness of real intimacy. Often, the most powerful arousal stems not from what you see on a screen, but from what you feel, remember, and authentically share with another person. It's about rediscovering the humanity in sexuality. Conclusion: the power of awareness and choice, so here we are. We've navigated these 10 hidden risks together, from the quiet ache of social isolation and pelvic congestion to the masked warnings of vascular disease, the numbing effects of neurological conditioning and pornography, the physical toll of microtears and nerve compression, the weight of guilt, and the specific considerations for semen quality. It's a lot to take in. The core message isn't that masturbation after 60 is bad. Far from it. The message is that it's a tool. And like any powerful tool, its impact, positive or negative, depends entirely on how you use it. Understanding these risks isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to empower you with the awareness your doctors might not have provided. It gives you the knowledge and the permission to engage with your own body more mindfully, more respectfully, and ultimately more beneficially. This stage of life isn't about resigning yourself to less. It's about embracing more wisdom, more intention, more quality, more connection. Your body still responds. Your desire still matters. Your capacity for pleasure and intimacy is still very much alive. With a few conscious adjustments, gentleness, lubrication, posture, frequency, variety, emotional balance, and mindful consumption, you can transform this private habit from a potential source of depletion or shame into a genuine source of strength. It can become a practice that supports prostate health, enhances blood flow, contributes to hormonal balance, and even deepens your capacity for real intimacy. If this conversation resonated, if it sparked recognition or hope, then please stay tuned. What I'll share next is the simple, natural 7-second technique I've successfully taught hundreds of men in my practice. It's designed to work with your body's innate wisdom, helping to safely and powerfully boost blood flow, support firmness, and reignite that natural drive. No prescriptions, no complicated routines. It might just change how you feel tomorrow morning. Because reclaiming your vitality isn't just possible, it's your birthright. Before you go, one final request. If this felt valuable, if it gave you insights you've been searching for, please tap that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. My mission is to provide honest, empowering health information specifically for men navigating their 60s, 70s, and beyond. Subscribing helps you stay updated on crucial topics like this, and it truly helps me reach more men who need this knowledge. And if this video spoke to you today, let me know by typing 1 in the comments below. If it wasn't quite what you needed right now, type 0. Your honest feedback is my guide. Thank you for listening, for caring about your health, and for being open to the truth. Your journey to greater vitality and confidence continues.